And then we're almost to the end. Can you believe it? The 1099 QA forms. Well, this one I really haven't seen a whole lot. There weren't many occasions that I've had to run across that. So when I came across this recently, it's like, oh, I didn't know this. I didn't know about this one. So distributions from ABLE accounts. What exactly is a distribution from an ABLE account? So what an ABLE account is, and I'll give you what the definition is. The Qualified ABLE Program is a program established and maintained by a state or agency or an instrumentality of a state under which a disabled individual whose blindness or disability occurred before they were 26 years old is considered an eligible individual that may permit a contribution to a particular account called an ABLE account. And it may help for those disability expenses of a designated beneficiary. So it's a very specific type of an account. It meets eligibility requirements under Section 529A of the code, but this is a kind of a cool thing. When I started reading about it, I'm like, oh, there's actually a specific type of account that can be set up, and there's not, as you see, a very high volume because they're allowing this one to be done as a paper copy with a fillable version. But it was one of those that, in my own practice, and maybe you're one that like, oh yeah, I've seen those before. So it just kind of alerts you that, oh, I have somebody that maybe fits this fact pattern. They, maybe have a total blindness or a disability that occurred before 26 years old. And there's actually one of my clients that when I came across it, I'm like, I wonder, maybe they don't know about this. Maybe this could be a benefit. So it is at least hitting your radar there and saying, hey, this is possible. So little bits of information on it, distributions, what earnings are on that account, what's their basis in it. So a lot of pretty simple checkboxes in relatively speaking, but now you also know about it from the practice side, and it may help you to ask questions too, because it should be maybe this person qualifies, or they have this that tells me something about this particular person. So yeah, it can help in general practice as well. 1096. This is for everything because now that you've been able to say, okay, I'm going to take a mental breather for a second. There was tons of these 1099 forms. Oh my gosh, there's so many of them. The 1096 goes with every one of them. So the 1096 you should be the most familiar and acquainted with no matter what 1099 forms you're doing, because it's the form that accompanies every 1099. It's a summary. So you have to use one 1099-6 form for each type of 1099 you file. You cannot combine different 1099 types on a single 1096. So let's say you're sending 20 1099 miscellaneous, okay? You get one 1096. And you're sending 5 1099 INT. One 1096 goes with it. And you're sending one 1099 DIV. One 1096 goes with it. So it's based on the type of form you're sending. One of these summary forms goes with each one of them is the idea. Or they're not going to be able to process it. And in each 1096 that's done incorrectly prompts its own penalty. So we want to make sure we get this correct as well. So we did a little snapshot of it is what this is. And relatively speaking, it's not a terrible thing. You have the filer's name. We have maybe contact information, demographics. They want some basic things like an employer ID number if it's a business, or maybe a social if it's a sole proprietor. How many total forms are you submitting with this? What's that total of box 4? How much federal tax is withheld? And what's the total amount reported with this form 1096? So all these are really just totals of everything that's underneath it. So they can kind of match them up and make sure. And here's where we were saying in part 1 of this, if you have lots and lots and lots of forms, you may have to, provide it's under 250, because you have to do those electronic. Let's say you have 200 forms. Well, you're going to take that and maybe separating them into a couple of envelopes, but the first one is going to have the 1096, and everything else maybe mark it part, envelope 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3, etc. So it is that there's a separate one of these for each type of form, and they're the total, kind of the total page where everything else ties out to. So that's a little bit for you on the rest of this that I cut out. Right on the form itself, it has some instructions in there. It gives you like where you file. So it'll say, okay, if you're located in this state, it has a whole list of states, then you send it here, like to Kansas City. If your residence is outside of the U.S., it goes to Austin. If you're located and then these other groups of states, it's Austin as well. So it kind of gives you like a where to file. Here, when to file is, for the most part, February, but remember you have those couple oddball exceptions that are earlier. That's going to be January 31st if you have anything that's a 1099 miscellaneous with box 7. So that's going to make those, and you even see right here, 7, Form 1099 miscellaneous with box 7. Check this box. And NEC means non-employee compensation, by the way. That's all that means. It's nothing Greek, really. Just if you have anything in box 7, check here and let them know. So that way they know whether to penalize you if you didn't make it by the January 31st due date. So that's a newer checkbox because last year was the first year we had that earlier due date. So if you've seen this one before, 7 is a little bit different as of last year. So this is our 1096 summary of all that information. And then if needed, 8809, use that guy if you have to. We had to last year just because our clients were not on top of it. It's an automatic extension for filing, but only gives you 30 days. And this 8809 must be filed prior to the due date to obtain this extension. So the way I interpret that, I don't send it on the due date because I'm afraid they're going to interpret that as being, oh, it wasn't prior. So I'm going to send this out as early as I see that my client's not going to be able to manage it. In some hardship cases, an additional extension of 30 days could be granted, and this one is a fillable form, so that's the beauty of it. By the way, you can use this for your W-2s as well, just in some event that you don't have your W-2s together. And they're going to say, okay, how are you going to file this eventually? Electronic, paper, if you're doing for more than one, so you can actually do this for a whole list of clients. We did ours with a list of clients last year, saying here's their list and here's their tax ID numbers, and then we got a letter back saying that they were all granted. So I would really recommend sending this out earlier and never right on the due date, certainly. So that is a ton of forms, I know. And I know that's the case, that there's a ton of information we've sent towards you, but please know that these instructions are great. The only caveat is it's a little tougher because they have the wrong years, but look in the slides, look in all this information we have for you. The link to my site, I'm going to have a manual there for you that you can look at, and it's going to have lots of great information, even a little bit more to these than we covered in the course today. So